modern times when, as we said, the principle of consenting adults became the discerning principle for what is acceptable in human sexual relations. As long as people were consenting and they're adults, then it's okay. Rape is out, child sex is out. Consenting adults, whatever they do, it's their business. Society has no right to interfere. So, homosexuals held this is also the case. And in defense of their position, they argued, because people commonly argued this was unnatural, they argued that it isn't unnatural. And they went around the world trying to find, examples of some, in nature, of some insects or fishes or whatever that displayed what may be described as homosexual type behavior. Now, back in the 80s, another argument developed, which was that there was a gland in the base of the brain, which they claimed it is small in the case of males or females, and large in the case of males. And in the case of homosexuals, it was smaller than that of males, though larger than that of females. It seemed to have changed. It was of a different shape. So they argued, hey, here's proof, biological proof that homosexuals have a different makeup. So it means that they're homosexual not by society learning these practices from society, but by natural inclination. So it should not be considered a crime. However, we have to look at the realities of these studies. The study was based on whom? Dead people, dead adults. They cut open dead brains, dead people's brains, and they looked at this. Who is to say that the child was born that way? Who's to say this? There's no evidence for this. That this decrease in the size of that gland, or whatever, was a result of the activity and not the cause of that activity. Who's to say that? That means God made them that way. Then it is inconceivable that God is going to prescribe a punishment for an inclination which people have no control of.
Don't mess with Allah. He's a motherfucker.
So, no matter what evidence is brought, and there may be some scientific evidence brought in the future, which actually does establish some kind of inclinations, but we can find people arguing that there are inclinations for pedophilia, inclinations for rape, inclinations for murder. You find scientific researchers saying, hey, maybe it's related to genes and this, that, and the other. People have these inclinations. In Islamic law, the punishment for homosexuality is no different from the punishment for adultery, fornication. If it could be death, it's looked at as a deviation. It is a punishment for deviant behavior which threatens the family structure of the society. To protect that family, Islamic law is very severe. But, of course, it requires 4 witnesses. Now, what we find in Islamic law, some principles to discourage this tendency for the building of these kind of inclinations. We find that Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, and instructed that children be taught prayer at the age of 7. And he went on to say that when they reach the age of 10, they should be spanked if they're not coming to pray, learning to pray. Furthermore, they should be separated in their beds. Most people think that it's just separating the males from the females. But no, from Islamic perspective, the males from the males and the females from the females, they should not sleep in the same beds, under the same covers, etc. This is why. For what purpose? To prevent incest as well as homosexual activity. So, again, not allowing a blurring, fashion industry today, which is controlled mostly by homosexuals, right? They have promoted the blurring of the lines between males and females. So you find women now wearing 3-piece suits, with bowler caps and, looking like men, shoes cut and made just like men's shoes. When that family falls apart, whether it's through adultery, fornication, or homosexuality, or, pedophilia, or incest, these kind of things, all of this is a is a threat to the society as a whole. And so Islamic law takes a very strong stance against it. And it prescribes very severe punishments for those who are caught where there's clear evidence in it.
You got pawned, motherfucker! Allahu Akbar!